Hello, Dave here. Welcome to Learn JavaScript with me. Going through the book exercises. This is Chapter 9, JavaScript in the Browser, Exercise 3, adding a print button to the HTML using DOM manipulation. So we're going to go through some DOM manipulation techniques. And the book is Modern JavaScript, Develop and Design, written by Larry Ullman. Purchase the book to learn JavaScript with and going through all of the exercises. Here's the exercises I've done so far. These are available out here it's js.davecoast.com. You're welcome to go out to Dave Coast. And out here, I have a Learning JavaScript button or a link in this post. And if you click that link, it brings up all these exercises out at js.davecoast.com. And you're welcome to go out here, bring it up in the debugger, look at the code, do whatever you wish. Going back to davecoast.com and this post, there is a link to js.davecoast.com, a link to larryullman.com. That's the book. If you want more information about it, I have no relationship with him except for I purchased his book and I'm enjoying going through it. Currently in Chapter 9. And here's the code that I've used for all those exercises. You're welcome to download it. So let's go ahead and get started. I also am using this same code on my local XAMPP server. So here's the exercises so far. I go to my Chapter 9 exercises and bring out my Chapter 9, the Browser 3 print button exercise. And you see here that there's a dynamic print button on the page and just some silly text. So this is just fun with just playing around with some HTML here. The important piece is this button here. If I click this button, you'll see that it brings up this print dialog, which is the same as if I went up here and did File, Print, right? And that's the window.print JavaScript function. Now, if I turn off JavaScript, it defaults to the basic behavior, and I go to Options in Firefox here, Content, turn off JavaScript, click OK, refresh the page, and you see there's no button. Without JavaScript, I can't use JavaScript to insert the button. The only way to print this page is to do the File, Print. Okay, let's turn JavaScript back on. So that's the progressive enhancement. And I go to Content, Enable JavaScript, OK, and refresh the page. And there's our pretty dynamic print button. Let's take a look at the code. Then I want to go ahead and mess around with these properties and show you how to learn utilizing the console. So here is the JavaScript. Notice it's not very much, right? From line 9 to line 25, basically one anonymous function, anonymous because there is no name. So whenever the window is loaded, execute this function. And that's why we instantly saw the button out there. There's no yes or no, turn it on or not. It's only if JavaScript is enabled and it is available, go ahead and put it out there. Take a quick look at this. So we have an if statement. If window.print is an available function, right? So if that conditional is true, that's what I was just saying. So if window.print is available, we create a variable and I call it print button work. And I just use these kind of names. That's why I put like work on the end, just to make sure I'm not using a reserved word. But I call it print button work, and I set that as a reference, or I do document.getElementById. So this is our first bit of DOM manipulation. This is doing a create element onto the page, and I'm creating an element type of button. Then I go ahead and take my print button work and apply a class to it. And I apply a class, I call it push calc. That's just the class name I've been using that styles my buttons on these various pages. And so this is how you assign a property to this new element. And you can assign an ID and various other properties. And I would look up HTML element properties, and you could see what other properties they are. Look up class name, and you could find other ones. So many ways to look it up. And obviously, the more you look up, the more you learn. Then if print button work, right? If this new element has the text content property, right? Or it's not undefined, then use text content. And text content is how you put text into Firefox. And that's Firefox only. That is part of the WC3 or W3C specification. Otherwise, all the others browsers use inner text. So this is how we give that button, let me click over here. See, dynamic print button is the text in the middle there. So let me bring this guy back. And that's why I just gave it some silly text for the fun of it. Doesn't really matter what the text is, but this is how we put text into the button that we created. So far, we created an HTML element. We gave it called of type button. We gave it text. And now we are going to use an anonymous function call to the window print method on click. So we're setting a listener for when that button is clicked to actually issue the print method, which brings up that print dialog box. And down below, here's actually putting it into the page. So some more DOM manipulation here. This is how we actually get this print button into and visible on the page. So we create a variable called work parent, and it is equal to document.getElementById demo intro. And if we come over here, you'll see that demo intro, this div, is the parent of this demo display, and this is all that dummy text. Once again, coming out here, see this dummy text? These are both children of that demo intro, and I'm putting this button as another child in this same level under that same parent. So let me bring the code back up here. And that's why, get back here, right? I'm using demo intro. That's the parent, and I'm calling it work parent because now I do the work parent insert before. So this is one of the methods, and I'll show you another method. The other one is append child. We'll take a look at that in the console in a moment. But by doing my work parent insert before, we pass it 2 arguments. One argument is the actual element that we want to put on the page, and the second argument is the reference element that we want to place it before, right? Insert before, we got to tell it before what? Well, from a parent, before this element, demo display, put the element I just created, this print button work. So if we look here, here's demo display, which is all the text, and I'm going to insert it before, and these are both, they will both be children of the parent, which is demo intro. So there's our code, nice and good. Now the way to really learn this is to do it in the console. So looking at this page here, Let me bring up Firebug. And I'm going to detach that just so I can zoom in on this a little bit. And I have a console session here. And the console is great. So let's go ahead and notice here's our page. And here's our code. And we can look at the HTML here. And if we look at the HTML, right, I can look into the body and into the div ID wrapper and into the section and into the article and into the demo div, the demo intro. And we see here, here's the button, right? That's what I put in there, right, with the JavaScript code. And here's that demo display with the text underneath. That's this text here. That's demo display. So let's go ahead and have some fun here. And this is what I recommend you do to get a good handle on it. So in order to mess around with the DOM here and add an element to the DOM, step one, we're going to go ahead and create an element. So I'm going to create a variable, and I'm going to call it, let me just obviously looking at my code over here. And let me get that in front of me. I'm going to create a variable, and it is called, I'm going to call it demo P, and it is equal to document dot create element and I'm going to just create a paragraph element. So type of element, and you can put any HTML element in here. So one way is to create an element. Another thing you could do is node add node text. What is that exact command? It is, let me see if I have it here, create text node. So another option, and let me just put it up here just so you can see it, would be document.getElementById text node. Remember, we're talking about nodes of the DOM here within this document. So we can create a text node, which actually just creates standard text, or we can go ahead and create an element. So a couple of different methods. Look up, enjoy. I'm utilizing the create element method, and I'm going to create an element type P. So if I run that, right, it created my element. So now I have an element. Okay, haven't done anything with it yet, but I do have an element. Step two, I'm going to go ahead and give it a class so that I can style it. So my I'm going to go to demo P, since this is an element now. That's my variable, and I could do demo P dot class name, and that's just the way to assign the class property in JavaScript. And I'm going to give it my demo showcase class, which is just what I've been using. So highlight that, click run, and it gives demo P that class. Okay, so far so good. And if we want to, we can just look at demo P, right? Because that's a variable. And a demo P is, see, it's a P class equal demo showcase. Okay, so it's got a class. Let's go ahead. So the next step is we could give it an ID. I'll go ahead and give it an ID. Demo P.ID is equal to demo P.ID. Doesn't matter. I'm not really utilizing it, but just to see, here's two properties. One is class name, one is ID, common properties used. So assign it an ID. Now I want to go ahead and put some text in this paragraph. And in order to do that, like I showed before, if it is Firefox, we use the text content method, or else we use inner text property to get the actual text into that element. So to write it browser agnostic, let's go ahead and do a little if statement here. So if, and I'll do demo p dot inner text. Well, if that is available, then I'm going to say demo p dot inner text equal dom demo with inner text. Doesn't really matter, right? We're just messing around. Okay. Then else I need to use demo p dot text content. Now move the mouse out of the way there. Equals dom demo with text content. And let's go ahead and put a couple of semicolons here. Highlight the if statement. Let it run. And you see that it assigned dom demo with text content. Okay, so far so good. So we created an element. We styled it. We gave it an ID. We put text between the tags for the paragraph. Now it's time to go ahead and get ready to put it on the page. And the way we put it on the page and getting into the DOM is you gotta get into the concept of the parent and child relationship out there. So step one is knowing where I'm going to put it by. And again, when we looked at the HTML over here, right, I want to put it before this div here with an ID of demo display. So that is another child that, right, and we're going to go to its parent. So that's going to be a sibling of the code that, or of the element that we just created. So I'm going to create a reference to it. So I'm going to create a reference to the sibling. I guess I should call it reference sibling. And I'll set that to document.getElementById. Right? So there's our key method here, and demo display. So let's execute that. So now we have a reference to the sibling. Now we need to find out who the parent of that sibling is. So I'm going to create a variable called reference parent, and that's equal to the reference sibling dot parent node. Seems simple enough. Let's execute that, and I'll run that. And now, right, if we go ahead and just look at reference parent, click run, we see that it's demo intro. So that is our parent. Now, and I understand a whole bunch of messing around, but so far we haven't really done that much. We created an element. We styled it with a class. We gave it an ID. We put some text between the paragraph tags. We identified the sibling. We identified the parent node of that sibling. And now we are going to insert this HTML element before the sibling. So I'm going to do reference parent dot insert before, and so this insert before, the first argument is our demo p. That's our new element, and then we need its reference element or its sibling that it's going to be inserted before, and that's going to be reference sibling. So, and I need to spell parent correct. Had an extra E in there, right? So now, right, if I come out here, right, it should place this new text just before this. This is the sibling that we were referencing. So let's go ahead and give it a try here. And I click run. Let's look at and there it is. DOM demo with text content. And that is DOM manipulation and learning it utilizing this console. You can do it on any page. You're welcome to go to js.davecoast.com to learn it. One other quick command here. The other method that we could have used was the ref parent.append child. Just a couple of options here. And what this will do is this will put it at the very end. So all we need to specify is the demo p, the new element. And I just, append child just says add a new child at the very end. So now when I click run and come back out to the page, you'll see here it is at the very end afterwards. And that is adding the print button. Go to davecoast.com to get me a message, questions, comments, concerns. Leave a comment at the bottom of the video. Thank you very much for watching. Hopefully we both know a little more JavaScript than we did a few minutes ago. Thank you.